I can't emphasize how shocked I am about this piece of news. It is absolutely massive. Of course, we're going to talk about the latest when it comes to Mason Greenwood and his potential return to the club. At this point, I gotta tell you, I feel sorry for the lad. The back and forth that we have been hearing in the past couple of months have been insane. If you're not aware, let's have a quick recap and then I'll touch on the latest news when it comes to the player and his return to Manchester United. After Mason Greenwood was cleared of all the charges against him, people thought he'll be back in the team in no time. But little did they know it was only the beginning of this journey of absolute frustration for the player. The first and main issue for Greenwood's return was the perception of the player among both men and women's team. Sure enough, the opinions were split. Some people were in favor of his return and some people were against it. Then we have to take into account what sponsors think of the player. As we all know, sponsors of the club only think of making more money and making a profit and of course not making any losses. And the stories in terms of what the sponsors think on Greenwood's return have also been all over the place. For some time, a lot of us thought that perhaps Manchester United should consider letting the player go on a loan deal to another club to evaluate the whole situation of his possible comeback. There were offers from a variety of clubs ranging from Turkish ones to Italian ones, most noticeable of which were Milan, Rome and Juventus, but the main problem has always been that Manchester United officials and people in charge of conducting the internal investigation have not made up their minds yet, and I'm afraid I have no clue of what is causing them to take forever to make a decision regarding the player. It's also important to clarify that this delay in announcing a final verdict has nothing to do with the takeover of the club, since we have had many reports stating that the Glazers are the ones who have the final word to say. Fast forward to now, the future is looking a bit more promising for Mason Greenwood, at least according to the latest report from The Sun and their sources. So what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to read you the exact report that The Sun has published on their website regarding Mason Greenwood. So the report says Mason Greenwood's Manchester United teammates are reportedly ready to welcome the forward back into the squad and feel he deserves a second chance. Manchester United forward Mason Greenwood may yet have a future at Old Trafford ahead of the new season. Now, senior players at the Premier League giants believe Greenwood, who was not included in the squad's preseason tour of the United States in July, has been left in quote-unquote limbo after the charges were withdrawn, according to a source at The Sun. The report also adds that the talks over the Brentford-born player's future are currently taking place after their 5-month probe into his arrest finished. A source has told The Sun, and I quote, "All the players believe he deserves a second chance because he's innocent in the eyes of the law. He didn't have the opportunity to clear his name in court because the charges were dropped, so the players feel like he has been left in limbo. They know it will be difficult, but they're willing to support him through it and protect him. Some of the younger players came through the academy with Mason Greenwood, so there is a sense of loyalty to him as well. They know he's made mistakes, but the lads who have spoken to him say he has grown up a lot in the past 18 months and will come back a lot wiser." It's also worth noting that Mason Greenwood has been spotted training with a private coach during the summer. The report also mentions that Manchester United are expected to make an announcement on the forward's future at the club before their first Premier League game of the season against Wolves on Monday, August 14th. Now, on top of everything that I've said, many websites have ran with this report, but they have all name-dropped The Sun as their main source. Whether you want to question the credibility of the website or not is absolutely up to you. What we do here on the channel is reporting the latest in regards to Manchester United. But at the same time, if I want to share my personal take on the matter, the only part that is a bit questionable for me is whether Ten Hag thinks the player is of any use to him now. The player has not taken part in preseason trainings and will have a hard time, I think, proving himself to Ten Hag. Now, I also get the argument, just because he has not been part of preseason trainings doesn't mean he can't have a successful season should he make a comeback. However, I think we all have to acknowledge the fact that it will be an uphill battle for Mason Greenwood, not only physically, but also mentally. But definitely let us know what you guys think of this piece of update. Guys, drop a like if you want Mason Greenwood to return to Manchester United, and consider subscribing to Always United for latest Manchester United news. Thank you so much, guys, for sticking with me until the end of this video. I really appreciate it. Here are 2 more videos that you might find interesting in relation to Manchester United, but until next time, it's been a pleasure serving you guys. Take care of yourself.